Noita, a game full of magic wands, uniquely designed spells, mass explosions, excess amounts of blood, and lots of death. But what I find that makes this game truly unique are the endless interactions between liquids, powders, and even the local wildlife. And well, since I sorta suck at the other things in this game, my question is, how far in the game can I get purely using these interactions? Let's start from the core gameplay of Noita. Normally, you would spawn in, run into the cave, shoot monsters with magic, die, and repeat that process until you either give up or beat the boss. So what I plan to do is spawn in, run into the cave, shoot monsters with bottles. Let me paint you a picture. You live in a world full of vast lands all around, and magic that lets you accomplish anything you wish to dream. And all you want to do is go down this stupid little dumb, no good, rotten, smelly little dingy cave, all to just throw bottles and spray random liquids at innocent creatures. There was most likely going to be no killing any bosses in my case, because I suck harder than this little guy. But before we get started, let's go over some of my self-imposed rules. The main rules are: throwing my wands on the ground, showing my inner Sigma, I begin to head into the cave, but I instantly decide to turn around and run across the entire map underneath the beautiful and well-generated terrain. Stumbling into some enemies, I decide to show them the power of my fluids. Seeing that this has no purpose, I decide to turn around and finally head into the cave and maybe find something more helpful. After wandering down the path, avoiding the occasional enemy, I ran into another potion. I picked it up, and seeing that it was a worm pheromone potion. After the initial test on myself, I decided not to spray it on myself anymore because I do not want deadly worms to chase me down and rip my flesh off. But maybe spraying it on an enemy could prove to be helpful. After seeing this guy obliterate a random gremlin, I decided he would be my first actual target. But before I continue, let me clarify a gameplay feature that I use so you will not be confused. If you ram your head into any material and spray your bottle upwards, you can send your liquid of choice launching upwards to the ground above. So now that I have that covered, let us take on our first real enemy. After carefully approaching him, I ran my head into the wood and started to soak his feet with all sorts of things. With no success, I decided to try something risky. Breaking the lantern hoping that the fire would kill him, I celebrated down below, and the fire is already gone. One bottle down, I decided it would be best to just retreat. Baiting him down, I sprinted past him, but there was an enemy only a few feet away. Not knowing the powers of this ugly purple guy, I decided sprinting past him as far as I could would be the best option, and throwing my wands once again, I headed into the cave. Finding a slimy egg close to the entrance, I grabbed it, in hopes that it could be the key to success. Continuing down the cave, I threw the egg to protect me, and mucus mounds seeked out my pursuers, annihilating their once solid selves. After chugging my brine down, and wondering what this poop sap is, I dove in, soaking in it in my long robe. Getting drunk off of the experience, I start blowing chunks out of my mouth everywhere. With this newfound skill, I decided to fill the bucket, creating a sort of half whiskey, half chunky concoction. Wanting to keep my hard work as a weapon, I filled up my flask with the chunk as fluid and stumbled down further into the cave. Maintaining my steady flow of chunks, I regrouped with my slime buddies and started to test out my sickening ways of combat. Having to fight dynamite with a flow of green, I fell into my slime and finally ended the run that should have not happened. So seeing as I clearly suck and I cannot get anywhere, I decided to use my brain to seek out a solution. Spawned in, already soaked from the rain, I wondered, what if I just sat in the puddles and waited for it to start flooding the cave? I tried sitting, but got impatient quick. Checking in the cave, I found nothing, and seeing as I was soaked already, I decided to stick through my plan. Returning to my puddle, I waited a bit longer, playing with my friend that followed me from the depths, when all of a sudden, the sky no longer oozed. Seeing that someone I regarded as a friend earlier now wanted me gone, I decided to succumb to the slime. Now I know you're asking, that was the big brain play that he needed to use his brain for? And yeah, sadly, it was. But in these next runs coming up, you'll be able to see that I can hit trick shots just as good as FaZe. Spawning in for the 4th time, I wanted to run back where I went at the beginning. I saw a giant tree of some sorts and wanted to check it out. Reaching up to the branch, I grabbed what turned out to be an egg. Entering the cave, I spotted it. Remembering glimpses of the past, I decided I would try and stay clear of entering. But spotting an increase of max health below it, I used my acid flask that I spawned with to try and melt through to it. I'm sure that this is possible, but after waiting for 30 minutes staring at my character vomiting and sitting in a rain puddle, I decided it would be in my best interest to just skip it. Jumping below me though, I spotted a chaotic polymorphine potion. What this does is turn anything it touches into a random creature for a short period of time. Seeing some spiders, I sprayed it on them and boom! The spider that is supposed to be a one-shottable enemy is now a deep jungle cave-dwelling maggot that fires explosive poison. Seeing as I am just causing myself more pain by dumping this on them, as I normally do, I cowardly ran past like I do with the rest of the enemies. Melting my way to an invisible potion, I poured it on me and vanished like my father. Continuing on, I finally used some of my common sense and used the miner's TNT that he throws to blow through the dirt underneath me. Finally, after 7 minutes of failing, I made it to the 1st level. This led me to the safe zone called the Holy Mountain. This is the place where you refill on health. In a normal run, you would buy magic spells and different wands to help you smoke through enemies even faster, but I just had to sadly stare and walk by. But not all is bad. For being a pacifist and not harming anything on the 1st level, I was granted a potion from a chest. I accidentally right-clicked and broke 2 bottles. Taking the defeat, I fell down the hole to the 2nd layer, with 2 less bottles. Exploring the 2nd layer, I sprayed some mana on a minecart, and I guess mana melts through metal? I don't believe there is any metal on the 1st layer, but knowing that now helps, I guess. Using my friend to open the floor once again, I ran into a purple goo family that slapped me across the face several times. Using my invisibility potion, I quickly got them off my back. Finding a hole to the bottom, I found the portal and made it to the safe zone. Refreshing on my health, going to my pacifist chest, I opened it, and what came out was useless gold that I cannot even spend. Entering the 3rd level, I began to think that I finally had a chance to make it somewhere. But 10 seconds later, I was being chased by a family of trigger-happy turtle-looking guys, which trapped me in a corner and shot me back to the surface. Having enough, I brought a special potion with me this time. I strolled on down the cave, wondering why I wasn't using this potion to begin with. With the clicks of my finger, I made it to the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th layers. Sadly, my special potion ran out of juice, and I was forced to leave with the little taste of victory that I accomplished. I'm sure that I'd be able to get to the boss stage, but since this is my first try at this, I'd say I'm pretty satisfied. If you enjoyed watching me act like I know what I'm doing, let me know if there are any games or other challenges that you would like me to try. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. A like would be appreciated, but just staying till the end is enough for me. Thanks again, and see you next time.